In the criminal justice system, Magic players are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the people on social media who yell about the cards, and the content creators who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Case number 25007, Vivv Ornator vs. The Meta. The Honorable Judge of Magic the Gathering, presiding. All rise! Vivv Ornator, you stand accused of crimes against Magic, including warping the meta, illegal use of Cauldron, and being busted as all hell. The penalty, if convicted, is death by banhammer. You will now stand trial. Defense, please make your opening statements.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, don't you like to have fun playing magical cards with your friends? Do you want to see all the fun banned out of Magic? The defense would have you left playing with 59 basic lands and a wood elemental, but I say no. I will prove that Vivi is fun, exciting, and I may be just a simple country lawyer, but I'll prove to you today that Vivi is not the real perpetrator in the current meta.
The defense sure does like having fun. So much fun that they want it all to themselves. Sitting across the table there, fumbling with giant mana loops, card draw, and maybe one of the most boring decks to play against since the infamous Cat Oven. The question is not if we should ban Vivi. The question is, how long will Wizards wait to admit this mistake from God should have never seen the printer?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I propose to you that Vivi has 3 solid pieces of defense in his corner and should not be banned because, simply put, it's too soon. We only have Edge of Eternities for 2 weeks. This only came out on the 29th. People are forgetting that this is a brand new card format, and we're just gonna, look at 2-3 tournament results, freak out, and ban the card? I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. We do have time here. It's not something we have to just knee-jerk run through. I mean, we do this every time. People freak out, and sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong. I remember not too long ago, this time in New Capenna Standard, people were saying, oh, that Ob Nixilis, that 3-mana Planeswalker, he's a problem. You gotta get rid of him. And they were wrong. Sometimes it's Corey Steelcutter, sometimes it's Ob Nixilis, and we just simply do not know right now. It is way too soon. I know people just love to scream on the internet, and YouTubers gotta be YouTubing, but this is stupid. I mean, it is objectively panic groupthink to say this card, okay, we gotta ban him. We just gotta ban him. Let's not think about it. Let's not give it 2-3 weeks. We have a long time before the next set comes out. Let's just slow down and have a think about it. Exhibit B, Vivi is fun. Now, we'll come to some, I know you're probably clutching your pearls and screaming, but Vivi itself is an amazing card. It's so fun, because when's the last time Spell Slinging was a real deck in Standard? I mean, sure, you might be able to get away with that in Limited every now and then, but actually being able to fire off these little dinky cantrips, that's not something we get to do very often, and it is a hell of a lot of fun to do it in Standard. It is really, really fun. And frankly, Red needs this card to be viable, to be a thing, to do something besides just turn mice sideways. Vivi is amazing. It's not just Commander jank. This card is fun and exciting. It breathes life into the format, and that's a really cool thing. It's a Universe Beyond card, I know, and that's got people feeling some kinds of ways about it, but it really is a fun card, and I think it would just be so sad to lose this unique card from Standard. That would be a mistake. And my final and most critical point of defense, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Vivv Ornator has an alibi. That's right. He was not there on the night that Standard was murdered. In fact, who was there at the scene of the crime? Agatha's Soul Cauldron is the real culprit. This card is the problem. It makes everything a Vivi, so forget about being legendary. It invalidates removal. Hey, thank you. Now everything can be a Vivi because I just gobbled it up with my Soul Cauldron. And maybe more importantly, every single time we have an activated ability in this bloated standard with a bajillion cards, people are just going to look at Soul Cauldron as the go-to answer. And they're right. They're absolutely right. Soul Cauldron is what needs to get banned. It is busted. You can play it in any deck. It can be powerful. It has graveyard hate, which is really good right now. And it's been around a lot longer than Vivi, which has only existed in the meta for a couple of months. I really do think that if you take Cauldron away from Vivi, it's not going to be a problem anymore. And it will save us the problems down the road. Maybe in the future we can look at banning Vivi if there's some new card that breaks it open. But for right now, Soul Cauldron is the problem. So instead of addressing everyone's favorite little black mage, let's point the ban hammer at who really deserves it. This busted artifact that frankly should have never been printed. If you take in all three of these factors, I think you will see in your heart that this card does not deserve a ban. We must preserve the sanctity, the fun of Magic. The defense rests. We will now hear from the prosecution.
Thank you. The prosecution also has 3 arguments. And for our first, we would like to enter into evidence Exhibit A, the meta. This past weekend, Wizards hosted Arena Championship 9, or as the player base calls it, a shitload of mirror matches. Vivi Cauldron was 54% of the overall meta and had 7 spots out of the top 8. And in the final round, Jan Moritz Merkel and Rafael Maza, who ended up winning the tournament, were of course both playing Vivi Cauldron. The last standard showcase on MTGO had a much larger field, 273 decks, with Izzet Cauldron taking 12 of the top 16 spots. All of this is made so much worse by the fact that everybody knew that Vivi Cauldron was coming, and it still dominated the meta in these highly competitive events. The longer we let this go, the more Vivi will completely take over and warp the meta. For my second argument, I would like to call to the stand Mark Rosewater, head designer for Magic the Gathering. Following the ban of Nadu, Wing and Wisdom, one of the dumbest Magic cards ever to be printed, Morrow took to his blog to address what made Nadu so broken and how they were going to address problems like this, like the problems with Vivi, in the future. And I quote, "Us considering the casual ramifications of a card that we didn't feel was competitively viable is not what broke the card, Nadu. Us missing the interaction with a component of the game we consider broken and have stopped doing zero-cost activations, but still lives on in older formats." They should have already learned this lesson with that godforsaken bird. Morrow knew that this mechanic was broken, and yet Vivi got printed anyway. I knew Vivi was broken, was a broken Magic card, from the moment I saw the first thing in that text box. A big ol' zero! Thank you, Karen. The fact that Vivi does it all, it gets huge, it kills your opponent, it generates a stupid amount of mana. I'm shocked that it doesn't draw you cards and then remind you about your wedding anniversary. This card is broken, and it was broken before the Agatha Soul Cauldron build, and it will be broken after. And there's no hogacking our way around this. This card is and will continue to be a problem every moment that it stays, probably in any format, but definitely standard. In closing, the prosecution would like to remind you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what this always comes back to: the almighty dollar. Vivi Cauldron is prohibitively expensive. The Vivi Cauldron deck right now will cost you somewhere between $700 and $800 to build. And that's not a blinged out version, that is the base price for a standard deck in Magic the Gathering. That doesn't even take into account the fact that prices for both Agatha Soul Cauldron and Vivi have been steadily declining as everybody and their mother awaits the inevitable banning that has to happen. To put this price tag in context, the next most popular deck, Dimir Midrange, is currently running $351. Vivi Cauldron is literally twice as expensive as Dimir Midrange. What are we doing here? The final point of this argument is that it's just terrible for competitive players. You are stuck between the impossible choice of forking over $800 to build the best deck in Standard, or being conservative, spending less money, and playing a less optimal deck. And building Vivi Cauldron doesn't feel good because you know this deck is going to inevitably get banned, and all those cards are going to be super devalued, and you kind of spent that money for nothing. But I also don't want to show up to competitive events and have to play a deck that I know is just going to get run over by some unchecked S-tier deck. There is no right decision to make, and the longer Vivi Cauldron goes unchecked, the more players are going to feel the pressure to buy into this deck and then inevitably have it banned out from under them. It feels really crappy. Thank you both for your well-reasoned cases. The jury will now deliver their verdict after you like and subscribe. Please rise.
Yeah, I win.